Okay, let me start by saying that I'm not an internet sleuther. I have not gone out of my way to look up documents and search a whole bunch of stuff, but I have been paying super attention to this case, listening to a lot of legitimate sources. And I just want to give my opinion on this because, like I said, I'm very invested into this case. And I'm talking about the Idaho 4 case. Now there's new information that Bethany Funk is going to be, has been subpoenaed, and that she is resisting the subpoena, which is shocking to me because why wouldn't she want to give her side of the story, and bring justice to her friends? This makes me think, like I've always thought, that she knows more than, everyone's saying she did, because we haven't heard anything from her, and I thought that was really odd. People are saying that, they already had enough to get probable cause, but I still thought it was odd that they didn't say anything about her. And I've always been suspicious that she saw or heard something, because there's no way in hell, and you can't convince me otherwise, that the two survivors could not at least hear something. First of all, people that lived there said you can hear everything in the house. And if people are fighting for their lives, they're screaming bloody murdered, there's bodies falling, dogs barking, even the house next door heard the noise, you would have to be less than a fool. Let me repeat that again. You would have to be less than a fool to believe that those two roommates didn't hear anything. So I've always felt there was just something fishy with Dylan 100%, since she was an idiot and called friends over to the house before she called police. Plus, she waited so many hours. I'm not one of these people online that's going to coddle her and try to protect her and say, oh, she's a victim. Bullshit. We don't know anything about her. We don't know if she's a good person, if she's a piece of shit. We don't know anything, if she's involved. We don't know nothing. So you don't get no sympathy from me until we find out otherwise. Bethany, we never heard nothing from her, and I've always been suspicious about that, because she had to hear something at least, unless she was drugged out of her mind and just passed out, or like had alcohol poisoning and was just dead to the world. Had to hear something. So now it's even more suspicious that she has a subpoena and she's trying to fight it. Your friends are brutally murdered and you're going to fight a subpoena to try to bring them justice. That is so freaking fishy. And my mind just keeps going back. It's speculation. Let me put that out there. It's speculation because we only know 5% on average about a case. And with this case, it might only be 2% that we know the truth about, because Dylan's story just seems off the wall. So anyway, it just blows my mind that she would be fighting the subpoena for this. And if she's scared, if she was threatened in a way, I can understand that. But you still would want to bring justice for your friends, and you would want the killer to be locked up. I keep going back, and this is speculation, that there was something they were trying to hide. Because why would you be such an idiot and call other people to a crime scene to mess up the crime scene before you call the police? Why would you wait so many freaking hours to call the police when you knew there was a disturbance? when you knew your friends did not return your call when you were checking on their welfare? Why? There's no excuse. There's just no excuse, no explanation. So I am thinking there had to be maybe drugs involved. It was a party house. Maybe they were high. Maybe they had drugs in the house and they did not want to get in trouble. And that's even worse because you are a real piece of shit if you know your friends are in severe harm, could be dead, and you're worried about getting a drug charge. You should know that police wouldn't even care about that in a case like this, where it's going to shed light on something and possibly have saved a life if you would have called within a reasonable time. They're not going to care about them drugs in your house. This case was way too important. So I think it had something to do with them trying to preserve themselves as far as hiding something. That's the only thing that makes sense. As I said, it's speculation, but it's the only thing that makes sense. I have never heard of any type of crap that we have heard about in this case. I'm sick of people taking up for these people because we don't know anything about them and we don't know how involved they are in it. And if they didn't call the police because they were trying to preserve themselves for something trivial, then they are a piece of crap that don't deserve any sympathy. If we can later find out it's something legitimate, then hey, but right now there doesn't seem to be anything legitimate as to why they weren't going to try to call the police to help their friends. And I'm so sick of these so-called professionals trying to take up for them, and these so-called professionals just assuming that they know everything about the case and that, Brian's guilty, 100% guilty, no one else helped him. A lot of these so-called professionals have really sounded ignorant on this case and just blew my mind as to how Alexa, stop. My alarm's going to go off, so excuse me. Alexa, stop. It has blown my mind that these professionals have just seemed so stupid on this case. And these so-called trusted news organizations are leaking all this stuff when they can't even prove they have legitimate sources. I have lost respect for a couple of the people. And if you follow this case, you know who I'm talking about. The people that saying they've got these sources, but yet they're not showing any receipts that their sources are legitimate. So, when you're looking at these cases, take things with a grain of salt. Don't believe everything you're hearing. Look up information for yourself. Don't just assume that what you're hearing is true, because more than likely it's not. We've got some really good people, discussing this case and, really talking about it and providing good information. But then we've got so many people that are just doing a crap job. And if you just believe whatever you're hearing from these people because they're supposed to be credible, you're going to see in the very end that, they're not. And it's really sad. Very, very sad. But anyway, I wanted to give my 2 cents because I don't believe everything I hear. I try to think logical about, every possibility. I'm not going to sit up there and coddle someone if they don't seem like they're telling the truth. I speak my mind. I sound harsh at times, but that's just how I am. If you don't like it, don't listen. If something doesn't seem right, I'm going to say it doesn't seem right. I honestly don't think we're ever going to know the complete truth about this, because if Brian is guilty, he's not going to admit it. If the 2 survivors are involved, we're never going to get their true story. So I don't think we're ever going to find out the complete truth about this case, but I do hope that, the right person is in jail and that the person that did this is convicted. And I hope that enough of the truth comes out. So anyway, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Always know that I am going to speak my mind, whether you like it or not. I speak the truth. I give my opinion. I'm not an idiot just blindly believing everything that I hear. That's just how I am, like it or not. Have a good day.